Elites. Welcome to the Movement Radio.
Adigun má bínú mo fẹ́ ya lónìí balẹ̀ I know them dey fear me that's why some of them no fit near me mi ò ló ń pọmọ tí mo dẹ̀ gbógun lórí ìwọ ọmọ ló máa mọ̀mọ́ ṣòkì gbẹ́ ẹ sọ fún wọn kọ́ má kọlù mí kọ́ má kọlù gùn kọ́ má kọlù gùn mo ń gbóná bíi radiator Toyota wọ́n ṣàbòsí mi lọ́dọ̀ promoter mo dàbí lálùdé mo dàbí dágúró David oníní ẹ lè dá mi dúró no record lè dágúró mi dá dúró gbé yorùbá bad boy bàbá ipa tiger mo lẹ́nu mo lọ́fà mo láyè tá a má lọ súnmọ́ mi kó má lọ fọ́ lórí àmẹ́ṣà abeg nígò má lọ bẹ́ sáwọn ọmọ boko wọn lè bẹ́ẹ̀ ní àṣàlì owó ẹ̀yà àṣàlì kò má ṣe ń tán pàtì ọdún ajẹmọ́ yàtọ̀ sálówìn pàtì mo ń bínú gidi gan-an mo ń gbóná bíi ti máa dùkúrì tó bá pàdé mi níṣan wọ́n dẹ̀ máa ṣàbòsí mi wọn mọ̀ pé kó bàbá èyí ti súre fún mi ògùn ńlá káyé mi òun ṣìnáàpù mọ́ ẹ fún lẹ́ni sí kẹ́fìsì rọ́ọ̀kì mọ́ mo ti wá gbé lọ́kàrí mo dàbí ṣọ̀kan náà tẹ bá ti rí mi káyá má fògbọ̀n náà yẹ̀yẹ́ ọlọ́mi máa dé mo máa lówó ju bàbá ìmàdé fáwọn ní tíátà mo dàbí Ọdúnládé ta ló dalẹ̀ ọ̀ṣà ẹbí bàbá wa ń dé I don't care what to talk about me now sèmi ló kábọ̀ ìgẹ́tì mọ́ mi náà ṣé balẹ̀wà ìdílé à ń bínú ara wa Yorùbá kí ló wà dé tá ń ṣọ̀kì ara wa akèrègbè lásán bí tó máa fòun kọ́ sí àfidé today make I no dey tomorrow you fit dey blow today make you no blow tomorrow kì í máa ní kókó tó bá rẹ́ni báyẹn o mọ̀ pé wọ́n mọ̀ ń bá wí tó bá ti sùn kó máa rùn ọba ní mí láàfin mi ẹ má rìn mí fi káfí yín má bàa jóná gbọlọ gàrí kó di lẹ́bù ayé máa ní kòkó náà wọ́n forí kákúléètì yòókù mọ́ ní pélé ló máa kù tí bákà bá bínú tàbí ẹ̀sìn pléyà mélòó ló máa kù Ṣàngó Olúkòso ní mí ṣèbẹ́sọ pé ló kà ní mí káforílẹ̀ kàgbélapè mọ́ ń jáwọ́ dùn yín lọ wọ́n máa mọ òkò lórí kárígbó òkò ara mo dàbí wèrè pé anybody ò lè gbá mú torí ni wọ́n wọ̀ṣẹ́ dúdú àmọ́ ṣe ohun títì mo ti padà dúdú wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ mi láì dá wọ́n ní pé wà mí ò dá àmọ́ àbòsí ni kò jẹ́ kẹ́dì yẹ́ máa fò tọ́ba ara lágbẹ́ wọn á dẹ̀ máa bẹ̀rù ọmọ ìlúkú mẹ́dẹ́mẹ́dẹ́ ó mọ̀lẹ̀ yá kò lè dá ọmọ ṣáwórí kórìkì àǹbádájáńjẹ́ lyrical jagabai lyrical titan lyrical ṣọpọ̀nà jésù lóhùn bọ̀ wá náà kìíní kò wá mọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ wòlé tí òbówó rí ẹ má fi yẹn dọ̀ mímọ́ lágbájá ń bojú kan rí ẹjọ́ kí ló kalágbé má tilẹ̀kùn mọ́ olówó má jẹ́ kéde wọlé gbé
Shout out to nice
balẹ̀ aláàpò méjì àdìgún bàbá Zion ó ṣà adíṣe bí Ọ̀yọ́ làárí Ọ̀yọ́ ṣe bí bàbá ẹnì kankan shout out to Kabasa àdìkàbàsà àdìkàbàsà.
Ọlọ́pàá ti méégún lọ́jọ́ta. Good evening. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the Movement Radio, the alternative radio station dedicated for the liberation of the African mind. The alternative radio station dedicated to the liberation of the African mind. You're welcome. You're welcome to the show. You're welcome. Sorry we're coming to you late this evening. That's because we got so much stuff lined up that we're preparing for. We're preparing for our launch on the 15th, on the 1st of March. We will be launching officially, but there's so much in the news in the Nigerian circle that we just felt that we have to once in a while come out and give you a few things. What we got in stock for you today is basically we're sending a DHL. We're sending DHL to the Nigerian elites. Personally, the Movement Radio believes that the Nigerian elites are the biggest problem this country has. And when I talked to you all on Friday, I was telling you that the weekend was going to be very interesting and that you all should get a bucket beside you, because what you're going to hear Nigerian elites discuss regarding the gathering of thieves and the launching of the book by IBB, it's going to make your stomach turn and it's going to really make you throw up. Yes, that is what we got in for you today. We call it DHL to the Nigerian elites. It's going to be some real practical monologue for a while. Also, you can watch us live on our website and hear us and hear the audio and all the things we're talking about. We will later on post a page for you to join us if you're joining and listening. But first, we want to talk about us, the movement radio, and why we're here. Like I said earlier, greetings to you all, wherever you may be, north, south, east, west. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your geological timing. And the movement radio was an idea thought of about the incessant usage of the technology and the internet in Nigeria. It seems like technology is not helping us solve our problem. Rather than use to help us solve our problem, it's making our problem worse. And we have a lot of our people who are using WhatsApp, Facebook, X, and what have you, but they're using it for the wrong reason. But first, let me introduce you a little bit to the movement radio. First of all, Nigeria is in crisis, and I am under no illusion about what has befallen our country. Its judiciary, its police, its leaders, its politicians, its lawyers, its journalists, its hospitals, all its institutions, all of it, even the civil society organization, everyone, hospitals, the moral compass of the country is heading in the wrong direction. In fact, it's dead. The churches, the mosque, everybody, they've lost their mind, they've lost their conscience. So at this stage, the country is going through a serious moral crisis. And I believe it is the duty of every one of us who has the opportunity to speak the truth. Right now, the truth will be used as a weapon for decorum. As part of my monologue, I'm going to bid you greetings, compatriots and fellow humble Nigerians. Greetings, compliments to you all, wherever you may be, and to you and your family. From the beginning of history, our country, we've continued to struggle with the true nature of our mission and purpose. Most of us have been living witnesses to the terrible predicament that has befallen our people and our nation. And despite this hardship, few, very few among us have been guided by unwavering commitment to the pursuit of justice. Our collective purpose in this life is to determine whether we as a people and as a generation will fulfill or betray our common destiny. Thus, the need for a movement rooted in truth, justice, and love. As we transition to the next phase in our collective history, some of us believe that we have to work diligently to chart a clear path for the country for enlightenment and to reject ignorance and for a chance to have a full citizenship rights in our motherland. It's a firm belief which some of us duly share, which is why we are planning to launch this radio, the movement radio, on March 1st. The theme would be March 1st for freedom. We're going to educate you more on who our guest list would be. We have a pretty interesting long list of guests lined up for this radio station. But first, let me say I am honored to invite you to an important gathering where you can come in and you are to share. You come in and gather with us, where we will all share our vision about what next steps to take to liberate our people from bondage of oppressive and irresponsible leadership, and to build a society where equity, justice, and rule of law supersedes impunity and abuse of power. The movement radio and why we must. The Nigerian problem, Hydra headed as it may be, can best be summarized as three key facts. One, it is best summed up as one, our collective silence. Two, the enemies within, which we do not know they are our enemies. And three, the elites among us, or what we like to call our big men, or I better pass my neighbor. The sad tragedy of our situation is that big manism, it's a very terrible crime against humanity because it is worse than apartheid And we know how long it took to fight apartheid in South Africa. Unlike apartheid, big manism is invisible, and every victim wants to be a big man. So it makes it even harder to fight. The other part of our problems and issue we have are mere symptoms. You can list them, all this tribalism, religionism, or jingoism, ethnic sentiment, and hatred. These three factors that I listed, collective silence, enemies within, and the elites, these to me are the three facts, the reasons the movement radio wants to tackle and address and deal with. This is why we went ahead to launch a radio movement and call it the movement radio, so that people of like minds and collective purposes will be able to join us. The Nigerian struggle has been mischaracterized from the beginning as a pro-democracy one, and those that have fought and died in the struggle embrace the lie. It is not a pro-democracy struggle. There is a liberation struggle awaiting the conscience. The Nigerian state has been captured by a most rapacious class of evil men. The Nigerian problem, it's very deep, and it's only when it happens to you that you feel it. Nigeria is a graveyard that has eaten a lot of good men, great men, a lot of talent. When Nigeria happens to you, Nigeria does something to you. It transforms you, it damages something vital in you, it destroys something essential in you, it transforms something good to bad, and it kills the living conscience. It eviscerates the soul, it conquers the joy and the life of the living, and it literally kills the humanity in a man, turning him or her into the army of the dead, a zombie. It kills a man and turns him into a night walker. Yeah, it does that to a man. And when you turn to a night walker according to the Game of Thrones, you become a weapon for your oppressor. It turns a man once living is now dead and is now a risen soldier that fights for the Night King. This is what happens when Nigeria happens to you. This political dispensation that Nigerians are going through, the APC, PDP, LP, AAC, or any other political parties, etc., all they are doing to that country is raising the army of the dead daily for the Night King to fight and destroy themselves and their future children yet unborn, and then virtually wipe out mankind or blackness in Africa as we know it. Nigeria is a place where the weak and the dead are the same thing, a place that shuns out men who are slaves and criminals, men who are weak, men who are morally dead. Yeah, it is a country of vice and vile. Nigeria is a fraud, a conception of evil. Nigeria, as currently constituted, is a crime scene. A crime scene. It's a crime scene that dishonors the black race. Yes, it does dishonor the black race. Yeah, because it's a crime scene. Although our people are very religious, but that religiosity lacks righteousness. It's like watching Sodom and Gomorrah live. We, those of us who are trying to raise awareness and change the narrative, we believe that a different Nigeria is possible, that a country that righteousness is exalted can arise out of these ashes of evil that we have, and that a Nigeria that should be inhabited by men, strong men and women, people of courage and virtue, people that justice and equity runs in their blood, men and women of vision for the future and children yet unborn, men and women who would die before becoming another man's slave. This is the type of Nigeria we are hoping for, and that is why we want to launch movements like this and try to use it to educate and impress people. We need freedom, and we need to break this bondage we call democracy. It's been nothing since 1999 but a demonstration of craziness. Being in bondage in Nigeria is not just about the unfairness of or the beating down of hardship of life. It is not just the violence, the unjust judicial system. It is not even the labor or the hunger or the heat of being alive in hell called Nigeria, or the chains of poverty that holds black men down. What those Nigerian people in bondage or slavery or lack of citizenship fear the most is the unknown. The unknown, like the lash that comes from nowhere, that is never explained, a visit from the taxmaster that they call government, or rulers or reigners in the dead of the night. The fear Nigerians feel and remember daily. That's the pain that returns over and over again to them. And that's the fear and pain that needs to go away or disappear. And that's why we have to bring this current abusive governmental system down. At this dilapidated state of the country, it is correct to say that every onlooker is either a traitor or a coward, or better still, both. Note that at this point, silence itself is a crime against the nation and against the people. Our history has shown that the politics and policies of appeasement and pacification of evil has been the language of discussion among Nigerian political elites, and the general public complicit silence and refusal to respond or react to the elites has compounded the Nigerian situation. This is the major reason the country is on its knees now, and people are suffering. A popular Nigerian musician, fella Nicola Pokuti, called it "Padi Padi Put Am Together Government Arrangement." The solution is to bring light to the darkness, because if hypocrisy could be said to be an homage vice pays to virtue, then what is happening in Nigeria is an homage absolute nonsense is paying to sense. The fact is, since 1999, Nigerians have never had a true or real democracy. What they have is a permanent coup d'etat by the ruling elite against the masses. And since 1960, Nigerians have not known the truth either, which is why people like IBB can now publish a book, a rewriting of history, and call it the truth. For as long as the lies exist, there will be no clarity of purpose or mission. The lies exist in the dark while the truth dies in darkness, and only light can bring truth back to life. Even the gospel tells us, you should know the truth. Oh, I do have an echo. Okay, let me figure out my echo. Yeah, you have. I do. Thanks to Dieta. I do have an echo. I gotta figure out what the echo is. Okay. Um, I will fix that. I wonder where that one is coming from, the echo. Well, thanks. Let me check for the echo, make sure the echo disappears. Well, for as long as the lies exist, there will be no clarity of purpose or mission. The lies exist in the dark while the truth dies in darkness, and only light can bring truth back to life. Even the gospel tells us that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Our truth is that bigmanism or feudalism as a system of governance is worse than apartheid. Let me listen to the sound of this thing and find out where the echo is coming from. Our truth is that bigmanism and feudalism as a system of governance is worse than apartheid. It is worse than apartheid. And it is an offshoot of the white supremacy concept. For we all know that all men are created equal. Look at the relationship between darkness, truth, life, and freedom. Even biblical teachings reaffirms the fact, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And as Nigerians, we have to find our way with the truth so we can have this life abundantly. Our solution is to launch the movement radio and to begin to tackle these issues point by point, objective of the way forward. To tackle this point by point and look at the way forward. Yeah, a lot of vehicles passing in my neighborhood. Yeah. Yeah, let me continue. I read my monologue. Our objective is pretty simple. We have to continue to speak out the truth to power. We cannot remain silent while our nation is going to ruins. We have to continue to push and fight for equity, justice in our country. Even though some of us are not living there anymore, but the responsibility still lies on us to help those who are in constant pain and suffering over there. Yeah, this is why we are doing this, to push for equity, justice among our people. This is why we are launching the movement radio to be an alternative source of information, an alternative source that is different from the usual one that the people are used to hearing. And we won't stop until we see some reasonable change in the country that helps to improve the quality of life. We have a lot to say, but let me not bore you with a monologue that is pretty long today. Today, we want to tackle the issue of our elite. On last week, Thursday, the former dictator, Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, launched a book titled My Journey in Service. And that book could best be described as pure garbage and lies. However, like I told you on Friday, it is not the outcome or the policies or the book in itself that is a major issue. It is how our so-called educated people, particularly those living abroad, react to that book. And I'm not surprised at the reaction that we got over the weekend. There's a lot of it, a lot on Twitter, on X, on all the social media. As expected, Nigeria saw that as an opportunity to dig into the trenches, pack up their sandbag, and start their verbal bullet shots of tribal hatred because of the book. The real important issues that were raised by the book, they did not even address it. We're going to show you some of this confused response that we got over the weekend about this book. We're going to share some of them with you. That is why we tagged this monologue discussion DHL to the to Nigerian Elites. As a matter of fact, the D stands for depraved, the H stands for hypocrite, and the L stands for losers. Because you cannot seriously have a man, it's like taking the devil out from the grave and then deodorizing it and presenting it as an angel. That's exactly what IBB book launch is. That country is very funny. First, we have a country where somebody wrote about the corruption in the judicial system. The person was arrested and locked up. And here is somebody who stole the common hegemony of the people, become a millionaire, now committed a lot of murder, killed a lot of people, cancelled a well-conducted election because he wants to perpetrate himself as in power, and now made a few billionaires who are now his friends. Now they all gathered to honor him when he now writes a book that is full of lies and half truths. We want to share some videos with you to show you the joke and the funny thing that was that storyline. That was There's a few the way Nigerians it's just amazing the way Nigerians behave. It defies logic. Rather than raise good question, call for his arrest, ask if the man could be arrested by an international court and trial for crimes against humanity. Nigerians dug their tents and are cheerleading. Some were even clapping for this dictator. And most of them, they live abroad. They live in the white man's land. They live in a land that's not theirs. And yet they can't see the errors of their foolishness. Nigeria is if somebody explained that country to you and you understand it, if somebody explain it to you and you understand what is going on, then you must be a genius. Nigeria, it's really Nigerian people, the elite are really very weird people. I'm going to share a few videos with you of some of the conversations that occurred this weekend over this man's book. First, I'm going to start with those that I consider depraved. Just share a few. I won't bore you that much. I won't let it go too deep. Just share something and see how can grown men be talking this type of stuff when they have serious problems to solve, serious issues to deal with. It doesn't make any sense, but that's the country we have. That is the country we have. It is indeed very frightening. Okay, let me share some videos with you, and then I would explain some of them to you. Some of these people, it's as if they are not thinking. They dug their tribal lines, fake narrative, false narrative. None of them didn't even make effort to go read the book or find out about the book. It is what it is. Now, this group of people, I think the first thing they should have done was to review the book, or make effort to have someone who has reviewed the book tell them a little bit about what the book itself says. But no, all they did was just attack, hate, And they don't understand that this type of stuff that they are doing is what led to problems that the likes of the problems that occurred in what's this country? In Rwanda, when people were dehumanizing other human beings. It is this type of conversation that led to the Rwandan crisis. Because this depraved, no information, all they were discussing were pure rumors, innuendos, and lies. And they were presenting all these facts, hating on other tribe, hating on other tribe. This type of thing is not going to help young people as they grow older. Listening to grown-up talk like that, they're not going to be able to know the real situation of their country or how to deal with themselves, because they are listening to men who are depraved, who cannot think. Who cannot think. They're listening to them. You know? And these are the type of men that comes on here using the internet for wrong stuff. They were just spilling tribal hate. They were spilling tribal hate, reinforcing the lies that they've been told for generations, and they continue to do that. Let me share a few of them with you. I'm going to do a little share, screen share here, so you can see what we are talking about. A few videos I have to share with you. I won't stay long on the ones that are spilling hate and negative stuff. No, they're not worth listening to. I just want to show you the level of decadence that their brains are. These bigots, or they have a specific name. There's a specific name for them. I'll think of their name later, but I'll show you a few of their videos and the type of conversation coming out of their mouth. It is really not good at all. It is really not decent at all. I'll share a few with you, and you can listen. I won't let it play for long, because it's not something people should be listening.
The major Q was not to say.
Are you telling them?
Because he was major officer then. So calling an Igbo Q.
That is why Mama Larry was ahead of him. That's why they have to kill Mama Larry. That is the person that's supposed to have taken power. If Mama Larry was alive, we don't see who would have been the head. That's why they have to take Mama Larry out. We have to be fair to ourselves.
You see, the problem is this,
Well, the issue is that the problem I have is that many people want to use Igbo people to make their own tribe to look good.
God bless you. You cannot do well. You cannot
that
your own region also committed a crime.
I don't know the carry
This kind of
they told
you understand? It's an Igbo man that carried the crime.
spreading hate among the tribes. And that's all we hear them talk about.
When you want to say,
of the guy who wrote book, there's no call
when you want
to change
the
situation in the country.
they will tell you South
No, but they're spreading hate. hate among their own people. Yeah, that's what we got. Educated people spreading hate among people. And it is very sad. Let's read a little bit,
For
and
me,
then I'm going to stop
I
what they're
believe
saying
every
because it
Nigeria
doesn't really
contribute to
make
the
any
cause. But the
sense.
problem is this, I
In
have to
different
be honest.
proportion.
Yeah, being different proportions. The Southeastern, my bro, I keep saying, anything emotional is affecting that region deeply.
Midwest.
If you want,
Who
if
are
you
you
want
to
to
lecture
go,
people? Who are you to
I'm
lecture
not,
the Southeasterners? Are you not
you
We're
also
emotional?
lecture
Nigerians.
me.
What? Who are
You
you?
lecture
You're
me.
nobody.
You lecture me as well.
You
Let
don't
us
lecture
talk.
me. You can
I'm
lecture
not
because I
talking.
don't know you. I don't know you, and you're
Okay.
nobody to me.
I'm not
So you
talking.
can't tell
I'm
me
not
how to
talking.
think.
Okay, wait. I'm not talking down on anybody from Southeast, but
No,
I
you
want to
are. You
tell you.
have been. I've been listening to you.
The
You've been
coup,
talking down on the
the,
Southeasterners.
ge-
I listen to you.
the genesis of the coup was based on honesty because they already had a problem. The Northerners were scared about the Igbo, and they
Yeah, this is the kind of rubbish
If you
they're
are
discussing.
trying to
Rubbish.
by the son of a billionaire who has an uncle who is a billionaire, I'm going to give people an example. And there may be an auntie who is a billionaire. You know, if you buy that boy, they will use everything humanly possible in their means to attack you, deal with you, or if you wipe you out of the surface of your generation. Desperate, what do? They wipe all of them. So for me, in my
This is the type of rubbish they're discussing.
They
Obasanjo,
all play
Obasanjo,
emotion.
Obasanjo
They
did the
love
right.
to put it.
Obasanjo did the
They gotta stop this madness. I just gotta play a little of it. I can't go into details. I move forward, backward. All they were doing was just spreading hatred, racial hatred, and tribal hatred. And this is really not something educated people should be doing, particularly using the internet to spread tribal hatred. That's all they did. They were attacking Easterners, trying to make it a tribal issue from the man who wrote the book. They should be attacking the guy who wrote the book because he's the one that needs to be arrested for crime against humanity. But no, they will let their hatred come out strongly. And this is exactly what caused the story of Nigeria. And that's why the country is in a mess. Because of depraved people like this. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. I'm going to be very calm and slow. They don't understand what they're doing or the dangers of what they're doing. They are not smart enough to comprehend, you know, pushing conversations in those directions and the danger. First of all, the things coming out of their mouth cannot inspire a young child coming up, growing up, and it cannot save people out of that condition that they are in Nigeria. So conversations like that should not even have been held in a public space. But you have to ask yourself, who are these people having this type of conversation that is so filled with bile and vile and tribal hatred? The very same kind of thing that caused the problem in Rwanda. The very same type of stuff that caused the problems in Rwanda. This type of people, some people call them Agbadorians, but some people call them the Ronukus. All they do on their station is spread hatred and vile. I can still share some of their headline with you so that you can see. If you go on their page, you'll see headlines that shows things like Kanu should be executed. Nnamdi Kanu is a a freedom fighter that has been arrested by the Nigerian government. You see, he said, Nnamdi Kanu case, a case for capital punishment. That's all these people spread. So who are these people? Like, they are people who ran away from the country but are living in abroad, living in America, living in London, living in Australia or wherever it is they're living. And all they do is spread hatred among the people. This is all they do. And they go using social media to spread their hatred. I did have something written down for them. Well, not written down, more or less an advice for this depraved type of human beings. I don't go to their page. I don't encourage people to go to their page. I'm not even going to glorify their name by announcing their name on here. But there are some cheerleaders that go there, some group of people. First of all, let's talk about the characters that are there. They don't show their face. All of them have all fake names, from one guy called Baba to another one called Kulata, to one called Mike, to one called Midwest, to another one called Tony Africa, PT. All these are all fake names, and they are using the internet to spread tribal hatred, the type that leads to the type of genocide we saw in Rwanda. I don't know why YouTube is not doing anything about people like this, but it is what it is, I guess, free speech. These are these people. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. They like to pretend as if they are intellectuals. They don't have any intellect at all. They don't have no single intellect. All they feed on is rage. And I'll tell you where that rage is from. That rage has been there since Nigerian independence. And these people, maybe their fathers passed it on to them, and now they're trying to pass it on to the next generation. You have to understand one thing about what rage is. Rage is what always translates to hate. And it is exactly what is responsible for racism, for tribalism, for classism, or any form of hatred we have seen in politics or policies that shows man inhumanity to man. Even though it says that we hold this truth to be self-evidence. Let me stop sharing their page because they're not worthy of any mention. We hold this fact to be self-evident that all men are created equal. However, these people that are spreading hate, there's several things that came out in Babangida's book that they could have dwelled on. They could have dwelled on the issue of Delegiwa that he didn't talk about. They could have dwelled on the issue of cancellation of June 12th. They could have dwelled on all the money that was wasted in the election. They could have dealt on the death of Abiola. They could have dealt on how is he going to return all the money he has stolen from that country. They could have dealt on so many things that could be quite inspiring for generations and children yet unborn. But no, it is the hate aspect that they want to sit on and dwell on it. I was telling you about rage. You see, these people have rage. And that rage was also there since 1960. It was what caused the Nigerian Civil War. It was what caused the cancellation of history. It is what is causing the miswriting of our history as it's going on now. It is what is causing the problem that that country has today. This rage by these elites. And they are having the rage not because they care for the country or the people. They are having it only because of their own selfish need. These ronukus is like a phrase to describe people who are tribal bigots, people who are bigots. That's all they did on their channel all weekend. Igbo this, Igbo that, attack on the Easterners, on the Igbos. They were putting more flame on the hate. How did I come out to this conclusion of rage? Even though we hold this fact to be self-evident that all men are created equal, until it is a professor, a Dr. Carol Anderson or something like that, that describes it when she was describing racism. It is not white hate that is responsible for racism in itself, rather it is white rage. And here we have elite rage against their people. Stephen Biko also described it in his Black Power philosophy, Black consciousness ideology. And Fela Kuti also described it in several of his songs with Beast of No Nation and several other stuff. You see, these people, along with the people Babangida was telling their stories, are people that have an issue of courage. They lack courage. And that has been the mark of Nigerian history. Because these people cannot read, they did not read. They're supposed to be educated people, at least those who made it out of Africa must be the middle class. And they're living abroad in another man's land. They're not even thinking the long term on how they can make their own country better. They're not thinking about that. They're there talking about hate, building hate. I don't understand it. It's really very confusing for me why these people are like this. You see, the issue of courage or lack of courage is what has marked Nigerian history. Those who form alliances, they form alliances based on what is best for them rather than what is best for the country or its people. This is the story that has been missing in the Nigerians being told. The story has been the rage of the big man. What we are witnessing among our elites today is just that. It is offensive to the ear, it is corrosive to the community, and it is poison to our people. All those Ronukus. All they could get out of Babangida's book launch was nothing but more tribal hatred. And Babangida is not a person you want to quote on anything because he's a criminal. It's not a person you're clapping for. It's not a person you want to use his evidence to justify or not justify a position because he's a criminal. You see, you don't, in the America that they stay or the England that they stay or Australia or wherever they are staying, they don't see on their TV, CNN, Fox News or MSNBC, they come bring a racist or a KKK member and put a black person beside him or a red Indian and say, you know, justify why your opinion is better than theirs. They don't put mad people on the stage. So why are we allowing all these mad people to be spreading hate in our community? If they can do research to find out their history and tell the truth to children and to those listening, they shouldn't be on air at all. Oh my God, I've spent close to 49 minutes just talking. Man, I'm talking too much. Oh. So that is just from them, the depraved ones. That's the story of today, the story of the D. I'm going to move a little bit also now to the H, which are the hypocrite ones. Those ones too wants to sound so academic. They want to sound balanced. So they allow all opinions. You don't allow, there's no several opinions of the truth. There's only one truth. There's no multiple opinion. All you do is give room for propagandists to spread lies and fuel the hatred that already exists among the tribe. That's all what that does. I want to, my logic is I want to give views to diverse views. Diverse views when it comes to humanity. There's only one humanity. There's only one truth. There's only one righteousness. There's only one law. There's no diverse injustice. There's only one justice. So when people who are educated come with such perverse logic, it begs the mind and you wonder, what was the point of their education? You have a platform. You've been blessed with a platform. And all you can do is let people who are propagandists, that are known propagandists, take a hold of your platform. What sense does that make? You are a pastor. You're supposed to preach truth to the people. And now you use your podium and allow the devil to convert. Anyway, that is already happening in Nigeria, but I'm just using the pastoral example. And every one of us who has an opportunity to speak, and we are speaking falsehood, or we are allowing people who speak falsehood to take a hold of our machinery, of our podium, to spread hate. I couldn't believe my ears from what I was hearing from the speech that supposed educated people were talking about on this Babangida thing. Of the many things they could talk about Babangida, they could demand that the International Criminal Court arrest him. They could demand this as educated people. No, the only thing they picked on there was that it was an Igbo coup or it was not an Igbo coup. And they now everybody pitched their tribal tent and start attacking Igbos. The Ronukus, we know those ones are depraved. I understand. I don't expect much from a depraved person. I just don't listen to them. I just ignore them. What about the so-called balanced opinion fools among us? I'll show you another medium and you hear what those ones are saying. Thank God the defenders of the Igbos were there to hold their ground against these propagandists who wants to label a whole group of people criminals because of rage and the lies your fathers have told you. The rage and the lies your fathers have told you. And you give your platform to this. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm confused. Education is supposed to change a society for the better, not turn a society into a Rwanda. These people have suffered enough. 5 million Igbos died for an unnecessary war because some group of criminals spun a lie that they continue to spin generation upon generation so that they can steal those people's oil, steal their land. And here we have educated people who have been impacted by this stealing, because if they were not impacted, they would not be living in another man's land. They will be in their own father's land, mother's land, which is being destroyed. Here, cheerleading the criminals. It is really baffling. It is confusing. And then somebody says, if you can understand that country, then you deserve a PhD. You really deserve a PhD. Let me just play a little of those other people before I show you. So today's lineup, we want to show you the depraved people's page. We'll show you the hypocrite page and their arguments. And then we will go to the issue of the day, which is the real facts and the real reasonable people that are talking. If we can, we will share this guy, Don Aza's story about the coup. Because obviously, these people that were on social media arguing and debating and spawning hatred on social media, they don't know what they're doing. They obviously do not know what they're doing. You know, let's see what the other hypocrite page was all about. Those ones too, the same thing. You know, all they have, I don't, you see, my grandmother speaks Igbo very fluently. I wish she was still alive so I could ask her just one question. What is it about the Igbos that they would take a knife, sharpen it, give it to their enemy, and then turn their back so that that enemy will stab them? That happened in 1966 when the revolutionary coup took place in January. Those that stood in the way of that revolutionary coup were Igbos. It was Igbos that took. And they gave room for this Fulani Hausa group to come and wipe them out 6 months later. I mean, really, really wipe them out like a genocide style wipeout. Killed all Igbo soldiers in the barracks, killed Igbo civilians, and that led to the civil war where 5 million more people died. And I see it on today's internet also. Like that Depraved website that I just showed you. There's these two Igbo girls that goes there, and I don't understand for the like of me. One Chioma, one Adama. Why you and one man of prestige go to a platform that is trying to destroy your people? Why would you go to a platform that is trying to destroy your own people? Screaming hate against people, marginalizing your people has extreme range. That's confusing to me. And they were the cheerleaders. They are the spanner holders. Yes, they hold the spanner and wave it like a dildo. Yes, I said it. They wave spanners like a dildo. Bunch of dumb, stupid girls. And you are of Igbo extraction, but you go and wave spanners at a website that is demonizing your own people. Don't get it. Then there's another one also, has a platform. I don't understand it. You go and give your platform to a guy that hates Igbos the most, and you're Igbo. I don't get it. Why would you sharpen a knife and give it to your enemy for them and then turn your back for them to stab you? And then you complain that you're not being treated well. The same thing they did in 1966. Igbos stopped that coup. They didn't let Inzigo succeed. And all of them were eaten up 6 months later with 5 million lives lost more. These are facts. Ademoyega has written a book. Several Captain Belue testimony at the Oputa panel. But the people who are the real criminals who have been in charge of that country since that July 1966 coup till today, who have $2 billion naira to donate, tell me, what are they producing? Are they Bill Gates that they have such money? Is money from oil, and they do not have oil in the south. So where does T.Y. Danjuma have the more 2 billion to donate? They took other people's wealth and use it to oppress them. And you have people cheering along. It is indeed a DHL to the elite. Depraved, hypocrites, and at the end of the day, everybody is a loser. Because they're not thinking. How you give your platform to somebody as demonic as Nigeria? He hates Igbos. Every utterance of his hates Igbos. He wants Nnamdi Kanu executed. One man to more hates Igbos. I'm not talking soft hate, serious rage kind of hate. And now your problem, I don't understand how people could hate their brothers like that. And we are all black, and you come to the white man land and talk about the white man doesn't. But here you are encouraging the hatred of your fellow black man. because of tribal differences. And now you're using the internet for it. They did it in 1966. 5 million people died. And they're doing it all over again. That's our elite. Those are educated people. Ononuga was an editor of a newspaper magazine. He's now preaching bigotry. All these people went to school. What is it with the African? What is wrong with us? What is wrong? We can love our brothers? Or is the education the white man that messed you up so much that you have to hate your own brothers? It is the education they gave you that makes you go to a platform that hates your own people? It is the education the white man gave you that makes you give to somebody that hates your own people? I mean, it doesn't add up. That's why I said it's called DHL to the Nigerian elites. They are messed up in the head. They are very, very messed up in the head. And I don't know how you can cure those kind of problems. I don't know how. Other than to talk about it. There's several videos I have. I don't know how many hours out. It's almost night, something. I didn't start early. Let me show you the other side. I wouldn't listen much to what they have to say because it's not inspiring. It's not educative. It's just pure garbage, in my own opinion. Yeah, it's pure garbage. Let's check that out. Then we'll go to more inspiring conversations and topics. Let's just talk about these depraved people and these hypocrites of elite. I told you all on Friday that watch out, you're going to throw up, and they didn't prove me wrong. Their conversations were sickening. Oh, let us allow all sorts of view, even a madman's view, even Adolf Hitler's view, even wipe the whole world out view. Let's allow it. Because we're trying, we prefer different views. It doesn't make sense. Stupid. Doesn't make sense. Views that are not going to help the community, the society, should not be allowed to be mainstream. I don't see it happen on CNN. I don't see it on Fox News. I don't see it in all this Western BBC. So why are you allowing it? You know what they're saying is not true. You know they're lying. You know they're propagandists. You know they are hate mongers. And those are the ones you give a microphone to just to suit their agenda. For all the things that could have come out of this book, all that came was to burn the fire of hatred. It is sad. It is deeply disturbing, and it is very, very sad. But we have to keep talking. Maybe one day they would hear us. Anyway, while I'm setting up the video, I won't be long on that video. Probably just show 1 minute long at all because their conversation is disgusting. I'm going to tell those of you listening on Saturday radio station, our first guest will be Dele Farotimi, the activist that was locked up for writing a book, The Nigerian Criminal Justice System. He would be gracing our station. March 1st, we call it March 1st for Freedom. Please join us to hear Daily Talk Deal in Ekiti prison. Shameless place whereby a person that wrote a book that is true is locked up. The ones that wrote a book of lies is clapped for, and their soldiers are dogged in, spreading hate. I'm going to share this one so you can hear. Although those who came to defend their tribe gave it to them because they know Like that guy, to Nigeria, in public medium, he's full of it. He has no brain. He has no sense. All he does is spread hate against a tribe, and somebody who is from that tribe gives him a medium. CM couldn't, he gave it back. But I will share that with you all, so you all will know the type of mess that our elites are doing abroad. It's really pathetic. Let's share that. Let's screen share and see that. Let's see what we got on that one. It is terrible. How are people like this going to save a nation? No, they can't. Because they're full of it. All they do is yeah.
Weapons. They form alliance. What I'm saying to him is
Christian, Christian, listen to me. Christian, listen to me. In case of next time, if you are in US, if you live in Texas, you will encounter the statue of Mark Twain. He said, never argue with a stupid person, because he will bring you down to his level and beat you with experience. Do you understand?
Never taken the evils.
So you are wasting your time going back and forth. A stupid person, very idiotic and criminally minded, will bring you down to his level and they use experience to defeat you. Just do that. Forget. There are people that you can. There are people that can reform. Just leave them.
Unless
we know Igbo-phobic. Who feels that? The very essence of
quiet. KJ, please, can you please moderate this?
He's trying. You can't hear it too. I can't hear the audio.
I don't know why the volume keep going back.
Let me see. I can't hear the audio.
I don't know why I don't have control of the volume. I can't control it.
Please, Logo P, you should not be the midst.
I want to go now. Please, can you allow that?
No, you guys are refusing to listen to me, so I don't want to.
I'm going now.
The other option left to me is to shut down. If you're not going to follow the simple, let us direct it. Please, let's just stop.
Sometimes it's good for us to exchange. It's good for people to exchange.
We need to hear one another. Okay, right now, who is listening to who?
Obsessed with CM. You are too narrow-minded. All you talk about is CM.
Why don't I
even if I'm not here, CM, what's your business?
Take CM out. You just take CM out.
I beg, get out. It is you that they should take out. You don't look like a human being.
You can't mute him. Is this in? You can't mute it. I don't know what kind of
CM is ready for you today.
I don't know what he's using. You can't mute him.
Go and take a good hygiene. Go and take yourself.
What is wrong? Can you come on?
I don't know what CM is using. You can't mute him. I tried to mute him. I can't mute him.
Very effective human being.
KJ, do you want to take him out? Do you want me to take him out? Okay, it's quiet now anyway. So I can't mute him.
Midnight, rubbish. You are not supposed to be among people. You belong to the wildlife. Why should he be telling me to shut up? Who the hell is he? Is he your papa? Is he your father's?
Why
you come here because I make sense. You are noticing that you are just too lousy. You come here and be talking. Look at the way he looks like. Does he look like a human being? Ordinary hygiene you can't get.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
It's typical
It's
Nigeria.
okay.
Typical Nigeria, and you are clapping. That's why politicians get away with you get away with more than because you have short memory.
So that's like your elite trying to defend his people from those who were attacking his people. But the tragedy of CM's defense is that the medium was giving belongs to someone from his extraction, and he gave it to those who are trying to destroy their people, using it to spread hate. So CM was just trying to fight back there in his little way. So this is what our elites did over the weekend, though. All medium. You go to X, you go to Twitter, you go to Instagram, same thing. Everybody was dogging in tribal warfare. Words were bullets flying around left and right. Words were bullets flying around. So this is what they did over the weekend. From all the issues that could come up under Babangida's book, this is the main hit. No collective voice to say, let us have Babangida arrested. No collective voice to say, where is our money that was stolen by the likes of Babangida, Danjuma, Dangote, Alakija, and all the people that were present at that gathering of thieves. The elites don't have that brain. They don't have that brain to focus on the right question, on the right issue. This is what they spend the weekend on. It's not just these two medium. Every media I went around. This is all what Nigerians were talking about. A Nigerian elite. Now they will say they are not elite. Yes, you are. You're middle class. You have an opportunity. You've seen how the world works. You know it works. You have an to educate those that are still illiterate back home. But no, you're not doing that. You're spreading propaganda, preparing us for another genocide, Rwandan genocide. The one they had in 1966, 67, 68 is not enough. 5 million people dead, unnecessary war caused by the man they are clapping for now. But, you know, the truth of the matter is that I don't understand those. They sharpen a knife to their enemies and give it to him. Aguiyi Rossi should not have accepted the position of head of state when those senators pushed him to accept it. And when he did, he should never have locked the likes of them Nzegu up, because it was their coup. It's like taking advantage of someone else's effort. The likes of Hassan Kassina also partook in that coup because they did not oppose Nzegu when they were in the north. But as soon as they want to share the lot of the coup, they now say, okay, the coup failed, but the military took over. That don't make no sense. If the coup failed, they should have handed over to the next person in rank as the civilian, not call it a military takeover while you lock up those that actually carried out the coup. That's like being an opportunist. That is what I'm talking about the issue of courage. And that's what created the rage. And the rage created more murders. And the people who committed more atrocities have never been held to account. The counter coup was much more bloody than the first coup. More people were killed, and it led to the war, Moepai, and it led to the civil war. And up till today, impunity rings in the land because all the people that committed all those atrocities in the counter coup have never been held accountable. In fact, they've been rewarded. They are now billionaires who can donate 2 billion at a book launch, book full of lies. That is the story of your country. That's the story of Nigeria. Anyway, we're done with those depraved people and hypocrites and fools that are talking rubbish on the internet. Let's go to the issues of the day. Let's listen to Dr. Apoki, Charles Apoki, on the book launch itself. Nigerian elites are quite a disappointment. It's as if there is no brain function in their head. There's no brain function. So everybody could take away from Babangida's book launch is to dig tunnel and start a tribal heckling, because that's what all that is, tribal heckling. And it was the Ronukus that started it. The Ronukus. Those are very disturbing sets of human beings. And anybody that is associating with them, that person needs to have themselves examined. Their morality is really in the gutters. Let's hear what Charles Apoki has to say about the book launch, because those are the people who actually raise reasonable points regarding the book, not the garbage back and forth that the so-called intellectuals were having all over social media. Rather than quench the fire of hatred, they just keep making it burn. They make it smolder. They make it smolder more and more. This is the type of people we have as it is people with those low quality style change a country. You cannot change a country with those type of views.
Your ulcer and eating it in your very feel from it in your very presence. Nowadays, in some hospitals, they test houseflies and maggots with UV rays, and they take the maggots, put them in very dirty wounds, and put a gauze over the wound. The maggots will eat the dead materials out of the wound unclean, and then you can dress it before you do debromo or grafting. But houseflies and maggots transmit diseases, and they are very nauseating. After 32 years, Babangida finally confirmed that MK Abiola won the June 12 elections. He regretted annulling the elections. He said he would have done things differently if he had a second chance. And there was a subtle attempt to blame Sani Abacha, a dead man, for the annulment of June 12 elections. Apparently, he was trying to say he was under pressure to see them clapping. What were they clapping for? Were they clapping for the death of Abiola? Were they clapping for the death of Kudirat? Were they clapping for the death, the incarceration of Kokori, Frank Kokori, that died and was given a shabby burial? Or are they clapping over the grave of Pa Enahoro? Or are they clapping because of the Nigerians whose businesses were destroyed? Abiola family never recovered from that electoral mishap. Are they clapping because of Nadeco people that ran overseas? What were they clapping for? Nigerians have a very low sense of value. Their value system is very poor. That's why I don't attend meetings. That's why I don't belong to associations. I don't belong to associations. From pastors to my medical colleagues to tribal meetings to all kinds of meetings, people with very low IQ, very, very perverted sense of decency, of justice. What were they clapping for? Like as somebody rightly said, a host of them, they should have been in prison. They should have served prison terms. In fact, that book is supposed to be, supposed to be outlawed because you accepted criminality, you accepted evil. You see, that treasonable action, criminal and treasonable action, they were clapping. But you will just carry somebody who did a video, they will say he's capable of inciting and breach of peace, and you will carry the person and lock him up and put a bail bond of 1 million, 10 million on his head. You go and bring a civil servant that has a house in Abuja, and this book now, is it not capable of causing a breach of the peace? What if the Yorubas started protesting that their son was unjustly jailed and killed in prison in an election that he won? They're clapping. People like me that you come after. I did a video that I don't respect any Nigerian that they wear masquerade, they wear masks, they are masquerades, who can, like houseflies, who can eat excrement, who can dance on top of excrement, who can dance on top of carcass. We were dancing, they were clapping and rejoicing on the grave of Abiola, Kudirat, the wife, Kokori, Enahoro, and the death of democracy in this country. It is very offensive for those of you who are very young, and those of you who are criminals and beneficiaries of the rots. You will come here and talk nonsense. I know some of you who are tribal and religious bigots who have no value for the good of this nation. You will come here and talk nonsense. They are mumu. Their approach was very sickening. Knowing what took us through. I remember vividly, I used to import cars from Lagos then. I remember vividly the trouble that this nation went through. Oh, it took us through hell. Now, I was 34 years old then. I know what we went through. My pain is that some years from now, when death was staring at some of them who were present there, and some of them who were responsible for setting us backwards, some of them who rigged the 2023 elections. 2023 elections, yes. Some of them who took bribe in the judiciary, some of them who carried ballot boxes, some of them who falsified results. When death will be staring them at the face, they will also come and confess that the last elections, presidential elections, was won by Peter Obi. You changed the rules. You changed. I am a friend of Dr. Poki. Remember, I'm not an Igbo man. Somebody was bold enough to say that it wasn't an Igbo coup in 1966 that killed the then Prime Minister, that subsequently led to the Civil War. I was 7 years old in 1966. I started listening to radio very early. I started reading newspapers very early. So I followed the sequence of events to an extent. Listen, there's something called schema. Schema is files in your brain based on information that you have heard that forms the framework for your analysis and response to information and to people. And so a great percentage of people of northern extraction had the impression that the Igbos were the ones who planned the coup. And it has turned out to be untrue. From Babangida's reports and from the reports of several others, including Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu. I have lived with the Igbos. They are not the picture your evil fathers painted for you or painted to you that is determining your reaction to them. A few unscrupulous people, just like in every other tribe. But the Igbos are very, very patriotic citizens. Imagine the number of people that died during the Civil War. Imagine the starvation of children. Imagine abandoned properties. Imagine those killed in the north. Pregnant women, their bellies were open and children were exterminated. That's one of the greatest evils we ever committed in this country. And we must apologize to the Igbo nation. We must compensate them. And if they are saying they don't want to be in this country, they have a solid point. Let me just continue with this video. Let me not break the videos up. Now, Ngibe, another Muslim that won, but the Igbo man insisted that he should be made president. He declared the results that he won. Now, with so much technology, beavers, whatever, we gave billions to somebody. I call you name now, go say they do cyberbullying. We gave you billions. You couldn't conduct an election freely and fairly. Beavers was turning round and round. Listen, karma will catch up with you. If you want to write a book,
Yes, you heard him putting it out there, Dr. Akpoki, have been polluted, completely polluted, and that's the problem. And that's why they're spreading false information. Let's share another one with you from this time from Mayegun himself. And then we will go to the analysis of the book.
Share that with us. Also, people as Yoruba people, for example. So we are considered as the people who lost greatly in that power tussle where MKO Abiola was adjudged the winner of the June 12, 1993 elections, right? And we lost so greatly as Yorubas now. Like I'm kind of like speaking in, in that phrase, right? So as Yorubas, we lost MKO Abiola's presidency. Then he also got killed in detention. That's so huge of a thing to do to a people. In the Nigerian setting, that majority of the Yoruba politicians actually milked that until they managed to force the hands of the military to leave. I'm not saying they kind of add that, but their push, their reason for standing up against, maybe not totally with what we know now anyway, but yeah. Or their insistence that the military had to go and the civilian, democracy has to come, blah, 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 blah. And all because we lost MKO Abiola, plus maybe a couple of hundreds of protesters who are like asking for Abiola to be freed, Abiola to be given his mandate and all that, okay? I don't think, and this is not to downplay the, what that was to some families, because for losing one person in your family that way, violently, is never going to leave you. Don't get me wrong, but there's somewhere I'm going with this, all right? That when it was time for the military to leave, they had to actually negotiate power. They negotiated power that the power had to return back to Yoruba land. Their reason was that they wanted to correct the anomalies done to the Yoruba people through Abiola. So today in Nigeria, they named June 12 Democracy Day in Nigeria because of Abiola and those who died now, all right? They have a bank holiday, they have holiday for June 12 holiday in Nigeria now, okay? They have monuments named after MKO Abiola just to remember him and, June 12. Like there are so many things that have now been gazetted into the national, sort of setting of Nigeria because of what they did to the Yorubas through the Abiola family. Now let's just use that phrase, okay, that frame of context. About over 5 million people died in a needless war of ego waged against the Igbos. Over 5 million Igbos died, right? And there is not even a single center built as a remembrance or a day set aside to remember those who died and ensure that that never happened again. In Nigeria, Baba, they banned it. Talking about what happened to they removed it from the entire curriculum. Nobody talks about it. Nobody must say anything about it. We just have to pretend to be together and continue to pretend to be together in that manner. So, except when they write books like this and people will react and say, oh, he said, but systemically, there is no plan, no plot to ensure that an injustice done at social time to these people, the Igbos in this instance. So the Igbos will say, man, 5 million people died. Most of them women and children. And we can't talk about it in Nigeria. An average Igbo person is expected to downplay it or ignore it or deny it. So you see that now, that's right. What they did to the Yorubas, Nigeria had to quickly find a common ground. In 1999, they told everybody not to contest any election in any major political party in Nigeria except the Yorubas. They did that to compensate the Yorubas for. You get what I mean now? So the bottom line is that, you see, Babangida's book is called The Book of Lies. But the hypocrisy of the elite in Nigeria, that's another thing I want to mention as well. I've done something, I've done a program on that before. Elite in Nigeria are the most stinkiest elite ever in anywhere, any country. Because normally, right, the elite, they are supposed to be the middle class up. So when government policies is going to hurt them, they can punish government. But because in Nigeria, right, the elite in Nigeria, majority of them are criminals. When you begin to check how they make their money, you will see how their money is made through the link to one government or any part of government or what have you. So at the end of the day, they cannot independently question the decisions or what have you of the public office holders, because they are all working hand in hand. And that is why you will see them declaring billions. They are billionaires. But when you now go to that contraption and you see you are living in this shit hole, how are you so comfortable that you are billionaires and you do not have any 24 hours electricity in your country? So they are billionaires without any enterprise, majority of them, by the way. And the only thing they love to do is to also to throw money around to show that I've got money, I've got a lot of cash. So we're all there, yes, laughing with the evil genius, you know, the man that, actually legalized fraud, to be precise, like in such a never seen before way. Babangida. Yeah, they're laughing. Do you know how much money he made for launch? 17 billion. In fact, it's not 17, it's 16 billion, 980 million, nearly 17 billion naira. That's how much there is to go and build library for him, presidential library. You know, Dangote pledged 8 billion. Bawa Bikilogwe, that other guy to that one pledged 5 billion. Danjuma gave 2 billion. Or that meant 17 billion. Go and build, But here is what Peter Said had to say about the elites and their hypocrisy, and yeah, in bed with your traducers. So
thrown the father, Sonny Abacha, under the bus, and it's easier to blame the dead and the Abiola, some of Abiola's family, children, associates. The likes of Femi Falana, Showore, and those who were on the street are already speaking. Those who were sent to exile, including President Tinubu, who were members of the cabinet at a time when all of these issues happened, are already speaking up and saying, look, there are a lot of things to reflect on. There are those who say, oh, look, it's in fact very thing that Babangida is owning. Is better than him not owning up. But in all of this conversation, is it more bravery for you for him to have owned up? Were you expecting that kind of narrative from his book?
Let's be careful. I mean, one of my favorite sayings is a quote from Oscar Wilde when he says, look, every saint has a past. Every sinner has a future. I don't want you to get the impression that I'm saying that if somebody did something wrong, he cannot later on own up to it. That's why I keep emphasizing my concern is more like the mannerisms, the mood, the occasion, the banter, the laughter, to discuss a serious national event where people lost loved ones. That's what I'm rejecting first and foremost. So I don't want the focus to be, I disagree with some of the details, but I don't consider that to be my priority, more than sending the message that this is not the way we handle something as serious as that event in our history. That's not the kind of signal which is sent to the younger ones. So I'm concerned about the spectacle. You see, we could have even, let's say if somebody wants to make a confession, isn't that meant to be a serious thing, showing penance, calmly, whatever? This was a bit of a jamboree, and that's what I think offended many people. So it is the style that surrounds. You can't remove the razzmatazz and this backslapping and all that. That's so jokes and all that surrounded something from the book itself. So I think let's be very careful. I'm not saying anything wrong with writing the book. You can write a book if you want. You can rewrite it. You can change the story each time. That's his prerogative. But I just want to make it very clear that some of us take exception to the manner and style in which we wrote it. Instead of being something to admit, show penance, a show of shame, it was almost a celebration of sorts. And so therefore it offended many people.
Let me ask you, Mr. Peterside, I imagine that you yourself, you probably are going to be a grandfather. If you're not, I don't know. I think you are right now. And a lot is going to happen when the generation upon generation are moving, and history, a lot of times, a lot of people who had said so many things about those events in the life of when Ibrahim Babangida was head of state, perhaps one of the longest serving military head of state in Nigeria. One person that a lot of people thought was going to transit in becoming, removing the khaki in wearing the Babariga. But if you look at it this way, how does it come to you? How much of an irony is it for you? The jailer and the jailed at one time in history sitting in the same room. Those who were in the trenches and those who've been fought against, all of them sitting on the same table. And those who think that for whatever is what, the Nigeria, does it explain what the Nigeria political elitism looks like for you? What the caliber of people and the combination of people you saw in that room, in the videos that are being circulated?
You see, I'm not here to indict anybody, but I think that if you're not careful, the Nigerian elite would normalize, deceit or fraud and things like that. They will normalize all sorts of things, and that's why some people have to point out, listen, enough is enough. Let's draw a line somewhere. There's some things you cannot joke with. You can joke with all kinds of other things. So we have to draw a line somewhere. And the other thing I want to explain is that, by coincidence, very recently, we lost two very highly respected elder statesmen, people who helped to show example in terms of standing for the truth repeatedly. When you heard something from Depraved, you could take it to the bank. When you heard something from Chief E.K. Clark, you could take it to the bank. Those two of them passed on very recently. I served on the national conference with both of them. We were together in Abuja, and that was in 2014. We were delegates. I was the federal government delegate. We were involved in exchanges, arguments, for almost a whole year. So we have to be careful, because elderly statesmen like that, who helped to set the right values for some of our youngsters in terms of standing for something, always telling the truth and so on, they've passed on. We have to make sure that a different group of elders also appear to fill that vacuum, who will stand for the truth, tell the same story the same way, tell the whole truth that will set them free. Because at the end of the day, it's a struggle for the soul of a nation. In many countries, people say it's the intelligentsia who influence and set the way. Even June 12th, When IBB annulled that election, that was the first time we had mobile phones. I voted on my street in Victoria Island. We knew the results. The results had come all over the country except for, I think, Taraba State. So I was a baby then. I was in my 30s. So I knew what happened. And I was among the first one of people that came out after the annulment to say, you can't do this. The public. Italy, one of the first of the articles I wrote then, and I've never heard anybody use the expression. I sat down in my house because then there was no internet, and I called it the ghost of June 12th. And what I was writing then was that June 12th will be like a ghost, and it will haunt some people forever. Interestingly, since then, I've seen the expression, because I even tried to look at the internet.
It's at a point. Don't joke with some certain things. Nigerian elites, they are normalizing fraud. That's kind of like a new, because it's not like them to be normalizing fraud. They've normalized fraud. They've normalized deceit, pretense, living in denial. These are the characters of the Nigerian elite, the dirty, stinking elite. As long as they can afford it, everyone else should possibly go figure it out. That's how they operate. Chancers, opportunists, pickpockets, Nigeria elite. But that's not all. Apart from the side that said,
death like no one can heal, but love leaves a memory no one can steal. Abiola may have died. His memory no one can distort. But however, I will tell you those living don't die for Nigeria. The book by a former military ruler of Nigeria, General Ibrahim Babangida, once nicknamed the Evil Genius, has no doubt been the most mentioned name in cyberspace in the last couple of days. Why some call the book titled A Journey in Service a pack of half-truths and in some cases outright lies. Some are happy though that IBB said the January 1966 coup was not an Igbo coup. So it depends on how you want to look at it. Anyway, no matter what you look or what you say, IBB will say, well, this is my own account of my perspective. If you don't like it, go and write your own. After all, the book of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, all accounts of Gospel of Christ are slightly different, even though they all wrote about the same thing. So it depends on perspective. But however, for me, the only takeaway, in all of this, what IBB has taught me is that in Nigeria political system, there are no messiah. While you might be arrested and jailed for writing a book to criticize the destruction of our public institutions, you don't even need to write a book. Just destroy the public institutions, wait for a few years, then write a book. Boom! The subsequent beneficiary of your destruction will gather to celebrate you and splash billions on you, even launch a library in your honor. At least now we know how some people who once told us that hard work is the only way to success in Nigeria. We now know how they make their money, how they became stupendously rich from our common patrimony. Imagine those who once organized youth to protest the annulment of June 12, 1993 election and Moshood Abiola's incarceration years back are the ones donating money and singing the praises of the same man who annulled the election today. And people are asking what has changed. My brother, nothing changed. They all have had this thing in common. It only becomes visible when they assume power. So now they look too far. Don't even bother. So what's the difference really between the 1993 general election that was annulled and all the elections we have had since 1999? How is an annulling election different from rigging election? That's why I tell you they are all the same. They are not different. The only difference is that in an annulment, someone who didn't contest took the position of leadership. While in an election rigging, someone who didn't win, is sworn in. So either way, somebody who either didn't participate or didn't win become the leader. Now you know why those who clamor for the immortalization of Abiola are the same people eulogizing IBB today because opportunity don't show face. So some people, even when they complain today, about the IBB and the system, might, even have flooded the venue if they were given opportunity to attend the event. So my friend, in the ladder of success, or in the ladder to success in Nigeria, there are no messiah. Everybody just do your own thing. But I want to ask, if we needed to wait for 32 years for IBB to tell us what we already knew anyway, 32 minutes after the last ballot was cast, that Abiola won the 1993 election, then we might have as well spit on the grave of Chief MK Abiola, Chief Gani Fahimi, Dr. Beck Orasom Kuti, and mock the likes of Chinua Achebe, Professor Wole Soyinka, who were exiled from this country over all of these issues. And even the student union leaders like Olusegun Maegu, Ogaga Ifowodo, and co. I don't even want to go to the case of people like Delegiwa. All those ones are different matter for another day. Today, the country is in a mess. People are living in droves as life is becoming increasingly miserable and unbearable for many. Yet, no matter how we criticize our past leaders, once they die or they launch book, they are eulogized as the best thing to have happened to this country. Remember, we were told that Ahmadu Bello, Tafawa Balewa, and Nnamdi Azikiwe were all great leaders. We were also told that Chief Obafemi Awolowo was a fantastic leader and the president Nigeria never had. They tell us, say, Yakubu Gowon, Murtala Muhammad were awesome and fantastic leaders, that the war was just an ordinary thing. Others will tell you how Olusegun Obasanjo was a wonderful head of state, despite Operation Feed the Nation that brought hunger. We also told that Shehu Shagari was simple and meant well, but only surrounded by bad people. And those bad people's profligacy led to his ousting by Muhammadu Buhari, who we are told was impeccable and incorruptible until, you know what I mean. Today, IBB is the beautiful bride who feel we should even apologize to him for annulling an election he believed would have led to the disintegration of Nigeria. The one we did so, better pass say we disintegrate than the way we did today now. Maybe we probably would have been better. If Sani Abacha did, he also would have written a book. And these same people gather to sing his praises. After all, so many youth earnestly asked him to continue in office then. Well, the man continued in office and he died in office. These same politicians, remember they told us that the second coming of Obasanjo was God sent and divine. But today we know better. They even informed us that there are innocent and genuine, just that the opposition lied against them. But I don't want to talk about transformation agenda. So during the book launch, no matter what we call Tinubu today, no matter how the names we call him, tomorrow, he might even be described as the best, thing after sliced bread. And even Akpabio, the Senate president, as the best Senate president Nigeria ever had. Yet, Nigeria is rotting away while the leaders and the followers are all sent. Who can spoil Nigeria? I will therefore advocate. When next you think of dying for Nigeria, remember Chief MK Abiola and others who died and some were even incarcerated for the actualization of June 12th election. And how those who caused the death and the beneficiaries of that June 12th are today together celebrating and eulogizing each other. Another reason not to die for Nigeria is because your friends and enemies might just gather to rewrite your history and celebrate your funeral. They might even take your daughter's hand in marriage as a way of showing that they were your most prized friend, and you will not be around to contest or dispute it. So ask yourself, after June 12, 1993 election, all the other elections that we have had, are they different from the one that was annulled? Finally, remember in Nigeria, there are no opposition parties in Nigeria. What you have is a clash of leaders in power against leaders who want power. And they use the ordinary people as pawns. So stay alive to tell your own stories, as others might distort the narrative in your absence. I don't talk my own. And to talk your own, simply follow us on all our social media platforms shown on your screen and share your thoughts. Remember, stay alive. Like I always say, men may die, but ideas don't. Like diamonds, they live forever. Abiola may have died. Those who once celebrated him might today be dining with those who masterminded his death. But his deeds and the memories he left will never be erased from the sand of time. See you next week.
Yes, that is it. So don't die in their war. Now we're going to show you the Donaza's production of what the real coup, according to Ademoyega, who participated, and the story that IBB was telling, which is totally different. Two different versions of what really happened. So let us start with what really happened to Adegboyega.
This lecture. This channel is not to propagate any lies. Now, be with the presenter. Unless we miss something. If we miss something, I see say you write up for comment section. I don't cross check. Do a video like this one now. We can say make I put the names why. Somebody can comment and say, oh, let me go. But if I see say you measure that, you won't make a lie, make it favor you, whatever. See, I dey hide you. Me say comment on my channel, unless you go open another account, Gmail. Comment. You must comment in the classroom. Constructive comment. Any attack, no, they accept them for this channel. Unless I no see you. If I see your comment, I dey hide you. Okay? Because this one na lectures they do. Okay? Look at the plotters. 1966 Nigeria coup plotters. Before we start, if you never subscribe to this channel, let's subscribe. Let's start. The first person, now this man, I no worried. Wetin he do, now be this. Okay? Second person, now be this. Wetin he do, now be this. Third person, now this man. Wetin he do, now be this. This another person, see wetin he do. 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 Because I no wan waste your time, okay? Another person, see wetin he do. Another person, see wetin he do. Another person, see wetin he do. You fit pause the video, read by yourself, okay? All these people wey I mentioned just now, all of them na Igbos. Let's check Yorubas. First person, see wetin he do. Second person, see wetin he do. Third, see wetin he do. Among the Yorubas, last person, see wetin he do. Next ethnic group, middle belt. First person, see wetin he do. Second, third, okay? This one na Bali, thief. This one, Hausa Fulani, see wetin he do. Second person, see wetin he do. Ijaw group, one person, okay? Now, from the record, 10 Igbos, 10 officers. Yoruba, 4 officers. Middle belt, 3 officers. That is Bali and thief. Hausa Fulani, 2 officers. Ijaw 1. Eshan 1. Okay? Before we continue with anything, make we see the reason why there were many Igbos. Okay? By mid-1960s, Igbo individuals were disproportionately well represented in Nigerian military, particularly among the officers' corps. This stems from colonial legacies and post-independence trends. During British rule, southeastern Nigeria, home to the Igbo, had embraced Western education more enthusiastically drastically than some other regions, thanks partly to missionary schools. This gave Igbo men a head start in qualifying for military commissions, which required education and training. By independence in 1960, many Igbo had risen through the ranks, especially in the Nigeria army, where merit-based promotions were still somewhat in play before ethnic politics fully took over. You see, so they say when British enter Nigeria, because of their missionary schools, let me say plenty for South, through the missionary schools now, a lot of Igbos were educated, or more of the Igbos. And to join army, you need good qualification to join. That one now give advantage to Igbo people that time. Because of that, they rose to high ranks. You get the point now. And they go for army, then we can't get, when they add over, they were already ogas in the army. You get the point now, okay? That time, na merit that they follow. No be now be say, na ethnicity, okay? In contrast, northern Nigeria, dominated by Hausa Fulani groups, had fewer educated officers due to slower adoption of Western education, other colonial indirect rule, which prioritized traditional structures. The Yoruba, while educated and active in civil service, didn't gravitate towards the military in the same numbers as the Igbos. You get the point now. For Hausa Fulani, the adoption of Western education was low there compared with Igbos. For the Yorubas, they were educated, but they prefer the civil service than joining army, like compared with Igbo, when we say they really join. You get the point now, okay? Because now who join, they go promote. The more people join for your place, the more you go see say they reflect for that particular region. You get the point now, okay? So when they planned, the pool of mid-level of majors, captains, lieutenants naturally include a lot of Igbo, simply because they were there. You get the point now? They were more. Let we see what one of the coup plotters, what in talk, so that we go get the picture clearly. Major Adewale Ademoyega's book, Why We Struck, the story of the first Nigeria coup. Let we see what in talk. First, he thought say, now 5 people there be, that they really fought for Nigeria as a country then in 1965. He said they believe say something drastic should be done to prevent Nigeria going into chaos or civil war. Okay? He thought said their aim was to overthrow the corrupt civilian government and establish a progressive military government that will eradicate corruption, nepotism, and regionalism from our body politic. Now the way we talk now, the right answer, I know had my own. Okay? So their aim, now because of the corruption, where they see say the civilian government, they practice that time. They involve themselves. They don't even know say that one a child's play. How will they feel see? What did all go on since that time till now? They will say, they were angels now. You get the point now, okay? It was the coup was not an Igbo affair. Nothing like ethnicity, okay? It was a Nigeria affair. And the Yoruba man they talk so. The fact that some of us were Yoruba, other Igbo, and yet others from minority groups shows that we were united by a common purpose, not by tribe. No be tribe that they practice that time. Now by, let's save this country. 5 of them, okay? He said not be only Igbo. Yoruba were involved. Also, other minorities were also involved, like thief, etc. It also said the only thing they say, the execution of the coup gave impression that na Igbo, na do the way where they execute am, na cause am. It was not our intention, no be their intention. The failure to strike in certain areas and the survival of some leaders created a wrong picture. See, so they failed to strike the way where they plan to strike, okay? And the survival of some people, when we say they for come out for this word, now people can say, this thing, na Igbo coup. You get the point now, okay? It also say we were influenced by the great revolutions of the world. Now, what did they see for Russia, China, Cuba, and they wanted to do similar thing to save Nigeria from what did they see, so that everything where in Nigeria will benefit common man. That was the purpose. Nothing like ethnicity. You get the point now, okay? It also say our plan was to release Chief Obafemi Awolowo from prison and make him the leader of the new government. We saw him as a man of integrity who could unite the country. Say, when they plan this thing, they map out people to remove. Now, Obafemi Awolowo, they were released from prison to make him the head of the country because they believe say now only him go fit unite Nigeria because of the love that they get for her. But the execution, they no execute am well. As the thing of fair now, Aguirosi, now because now he be the head of like #1 military man that time, now he can take over. Coincidentally, he was from Igbo. Because again, remember, Igbos now they be ogas for army that time. Because of the reason we I tell you before. You get the point now, okay? It does say the coup failed, not because of our planning, okay? But because the reaction it provoked. He say not because of the way they plan am, because of wetin happen. The reaction where the coup provoke, that is the way people perceive am. They no see am like a revolution to save Nigeria, but they use the eye of ethnicity narrate the story of the coup. Okay? The counter coup and the massacres that followed were not what we foresaw. It does say the counter coup. I don't talk about my previous video. If you go watch it and narrate the process according to IBB, how everything was interpreted before they call the black people, especially the Igbos, caused the civil war. Okay? It does say their plan not to save Nigeria, but instead they put Nigeria into greater tragedy. That was our greatest regret. You get the point now. They don't know say they go misinterpret their intention. At the end of the day, with the type of their plan, it can cause bigger problem for Nigeria. Now we see the face today. Igbo coup, according to him. IBB don't say it was Igbo coup. But FFK don't say there is no place in IBB's book where it don't say it no be Igbo school. So whoever they say is Igbo school is still reacting or interpreting the miscalculation of the officers. But their original intention, according to this Yoruba man, no be Igbo man, not to save Nigeria from corruption, being motivated by Russia, Cuba.
Yes, thank you for yeah. Thank you all for listening. So that's the story of the IBB coup, book, the 1966 coup, by those who participated in it. The Nigerian elites are a disgrace to that country. They are shameful people. They endorse corruption. They don't say the truth. They continue to spin lies that has been spun since 1966. The country continues to go down. The country continues to be the world capital of poverty. We have more than 15 million out of school children, government that is not accountable to the people. We have Nigerian elites who are enjoying life abroad, still using social media to spread propaganda and lies. Our own mission is to counter their position, to disgrace them, to put them in the open, to put them out, to cast them out, to call them clowns, whatever we have to do to stop them, because Nigeria cannot continue like this. There are several issues they could have raised on the Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida's book. The issue of him returning stolen money, the issue of him going to jail, the call for the issue of all those that surround him that were in that hall clapping, going to jail. This is what elites do. You raise issues that are in common with the people. You don't start to spread hate on the internet. You don't start to spread disgusting false information that are unfounded. People who were in the military said it wasn't an Igbo coup, and here you are on the internet spreading rumor that it's an Igbo coup. You're quoting people like Fani Kayode, those who only talk on behalf of their stomach, And there are several of them, of these elites, who are like this. Anyway, that is all we have for you today. We will be bringing you more interesting stuff. Stay tuned with us. We will launch on March 1st. It's called March 1st for Freedom. Our guest would be the enviable Dele Farotimi. And I think we will also have Mayegun Omobadero of the Temple of Truth. Please stay tuned. We will bring you more interesting program. Like, share, and we are here to educate, to reorientate, and improve the quality of life of Black people. Cannot continue to suffer in the midst of plenty. God has blessed us naturally. We have gold, diamond, oil. We have no business with poverty, but we have a group of criminals who have captured our homeland, and they are working for their white supremacist pastors. And our position is to counter them in whatever way, form, or to bring light into the darkness they brought onto that continent. We thank you all for joining us, and we will see you later. Stay tuned, and God bless you all for joining us, and thank you for listening. And thank you very much. Thank you. This is the Movement Radio. We are an alternative music and news medium that is dedicated to improving the quality of life of the Nigerian in particular and the Africans in general. Thank you for watching. We will see you soon. We might have another show just before Saturday again, but we'll keep you posted, and we'll share this. Thank you.